Good morning, student. Today in theme 7, we will start our next topic, the capital Vijayanagar and its environs. This is our today's topic, the capital Vijayanagar, the capital and its environs. Now, first of all, I want to tell you about the city. Several travelers visited the city and wrote about it. Italian trader named the Niccolo di Conti, Persian ambassador Abdul Razak, and a merchant named Af- uh, Afanasali Nikitin from the Russia, all of whom visited the city in the 15th century. It means that in the 15th century, all these travelers they were visited in the India. Then Durante Barbosa, Domingo Piaz, and the Fernando Nunes from the Portugal who came in India in the 16th century. So in the 15th and in the 16th century, all these travelers they were visited in India. Now they were when they visited in India, they were wrote about the this many of them they were also wrote about this Vijayanagar Empire. Now what's they wrote? They were wrote about the features of the water resources. So first of all, I'm telling you about the features of this water resource. Vijayanagar was located in the natural basin formed by the river Tungabhadra, which flows in the northeasterly direction. Now, this is the location of the Vijayanagar Empire. Large granite hills formed a girdle like a vast belt around the city. It means the whole city was surrounded by the granite hills. A number of the streams flowed from these rocky outcrops of the river, and many of the streams they were also flowed from these rocky granite hills to the this river. Embankments were built along these streams to create reservoirs of different sizes. Through these streams, many reservoirs of the different sizes were also made, and the water of these reservoirs also used for the irrigation and for other purposes in the Vijayanagar Empire because there was a shortage of the water. Since Vijayanagar was one of the most arid zones of the peninsula, elaborate arrangements were made to store rainwater to be used in the city. So, with the help, I'm just telling you about the reservoirs. Through these reservoirs, they were also stored even the rainwater in these reservoirs, and then this rainwater they were used for the different purposes in by the people of this city. Now, the features of the water resources. Again, the Kamlapuram tank. Now, here you see the picture. This is the most important tank built in the early years of the 15th century. Water from this tank was used not only to irrigate the field but also to channel water into the royal centers. It means that from this reservoir, from this tank, this water on that time was used by the royal center, by the kings and his family. See this beautiful Kamlapuram tank, the different views. Now I'm showing you. These are the different views from the different angles. This is the distribution of the canal. Here you see the picture of canal. Now the features, the Hiria Canal. Now I am telling you about the Hiria Canal was one of the most prominent waterworks. This canal drew water from a dam built across the Tungabhadra and irrigated the cultivated fields that separated the sacred center and from the urban core area. This canal separated this city into two parts. One side there that was the sacred center, the another side that was the urban core center. This canal was built by the king of the Sangam dynasty, by the rulers of the Sangam dynasty. They were made this Hiria canal. Now, accounts of the Abdul Razzaq about the walls of the Vijayanagar Empire. Abdul Razzaq was one of the ambassadors sent by the ruler of Persia to Calicut in the 15th century. Earlier, I am told you about the Abdul Razak. He was an ambassador of the Persia, and the ruler of the Persia. He sent the Abdul Razak to Calicut in the 15th century. He was greatly impressed by the fortification and mentioned 7 lines of the forts. So he was too much impressed by the fortification of the Vijayanagar Empire because the fortification was in the 7 lines. Mostly we saw that the fortification was only of one wall, but here he saw the 7 lines of the forts. So this was very different thing. He was too much surprised to saw this fortification. He says that the forts were encircled not only the city but also its agriculture, hinterland, and even the forest also. So these forts, they were encircled not only the city but the agriculture land, in pasture land, and even the forest also. The outermost wall linked the hills surrounding the city. The masonry construction was slightly tapered. It means that the last wall of that city that was linked with the hills of that granite, okay, granite hills. And the masonry construction was very good because no mortar and cementing agents was employed and anywhere in the construction. The stone blocks were wedge shaped. This was a very different, in a different way they were built. These forts. They were not used any type of mortar or the cementing agent because but they were built the stones in the wedge shaped which held them in place. Okay, they were interlocked with each other. The inner portion of the walls was of the earth packed with rubble, loose fragments of rocks or bricks. It, uh, it means the whole parts of the that in the inner portion of the wall they were also covered with the rubbles. Square or rectangular bastions, projecting part of the fortification, projected outerwards. It means that the pillars. Okay. The most important feature of the Vijayanagar fortification was its incorporation of the agriculture tracts because the rulers were well prepared to face the siege. Siege means घेर लेना चारों तरफ से, blocked during the battles, okay, and its consequences. Abdul Razak noted that between the first, second, and the third walls, there are cultivated fields, gardens, and the houses. Okay, so it means that in the first, second, and third walls, the agriculture fields, okay, then the gardens and the houses of the people. They were under the first, second, and third wall. It means fully protected in a fully protected area. Then why agriculture lands were incorporated within the fortified area? This is our question. During the medieval period, the major objective of the sages was to starve the defenders into submission. That due to the starvation at the time of the sages, the rivals they were also saw that one maybe with the starvation they were also show their submission. Okay, though these sages could continue for months and sometime even the years also. Okay, rulers were ready to face it with proper arrangement by building large granaries within the fortified areas. Here we see in the this Vijayanagar Empire that the rulers were fully prepared for that sages. Maybe the rivals were seated at the outer side of the forts, but they were fully protected within these first, second, or third, or fourth forts, because they were the, rulers as well as the people, all one, they were found these granaries and the pasture land and everything in that fortified areas. So they were not afraid from that sages. The rulers of the Vijayanagar adopted a more expensive and elaborate method of protecting the agriculture belt by itself, by incorporating agriculture tracts in the fort. It means that they were fully protected and through these agriculture belts, and they were also got each and everything under this fortification. So that's why uh, they were built the agriculture land under this fortified area. A second line of the fortification went around the inner core of the urban complex. It means that the inner core where the palace of the ruler, okay, that was under the second line of the fortification. A third line surrounded by the royal centers, within which each set of major buildings were surrounded by its own high walls. Every buildings, major buildings were also surrounded by this third wall. A fort was entered through well guarded gates leading to the major roads. So these forts, they had one proper well guard. The guards were, the sipahis were also they were there, and in each and every fort there was a proper gates, and that gates were also leading to the major roads. Gateways were the defined architectural features. The arc of the on the gateway leading into fortified settlements, as well as the dome over the gate, is regarded as the typical features of the architect introducing by the Turkish sultans. On that time, the gateways were the very defined and a different architecture features of these gateways, and which were introduced by the Turkish sultans on that time. Okay, students, uh, our this topic is completed. Next topic we will start our in our next video. Thank you.